Welcome to another edition of Community Conversations. Today, my guest is Chamber President and CEO, Elizabeth Cromwell. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Well, you and I have known each other for a while, but you joined the Chamber in August of last year. And so tell us a little bit about what your experience has been at the Chamber.
Sure. Well, we have known each other for probably about 15 years or so through my work at the library, where I worked for 12 years. And so my experience at the Chamber so far has been a terrific new step for me. I have been fortunate that I've worked with so many businesses here in Frederick County over the years. In my previous position, I worked on corporate and community partnerships, and so I knew many of the folks in the community, some of our larger members, our smaller members, and frankly, a lot of the staff as well. So it's been pretty seamless, and they've been really great to me.
So I know one of the subcommittees with the Chamber of Commerce is the Major Employers Group, and I know they help to set some of the goals and priorities for the Chamber of Commerce. Can you share what some of those goals and priorities are? And, then I want to talk to you a little bit about how county government can be supportive and be a partner in trying to make sure we have a vibrant economy here and that we remain the great place to live and work that we are today.
Great. The Major Employers Group is a group of about 15 companies here in Frederick. Those companies represent somewhere between 22 and 23,000 employees in Frederick County. So they are a small number of companies, but tremendously significant as far as the business climate and development here. So they are exceptionally good at speaking with a common voice. And for the last several years, they have identified several key priorities for them. One that I think they surprised themselves that it was number one on their list was the downtown hotel project. And they are extremely committed to getting a full-service downtown hotel with meeting space. Another area that they are very interested in is the higher ed center. This is a regional center that will end up producing PhD programs so that we can have more people who are qualified in this county.
And isn't that really very important to our life science and biotech sector? And really specifically targets the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math.
That's right. It's critical. And what we have found from some of our larger biotech firms is they are not able to find qualified employees, not only in Frederick or in the state of Maryland, but even in this country, that we need to find a better way to educate in the STEM area that will then draw these people directly into the jobs that already exist in Frederick. In some ways, we are fortunate because of the spinning off of companies from Fort Detrick that we actually do have companies here with well-paying jobs. The challenge is we want people here in Frederick County to benefit from them. And so by creating this PhD program here, our hope is that we will create this homegrown talent that goes straight from the classrooms into the careers.
So the idea is of the Regional Higher Education Center, for people who may be listening who are unfamiliar with it, is to have a location where we can have co-located there classes and instructional programs from a variety of our higher education institutions in Maryland, like Hopkins and the University of Maryland. And so people do not have to leave the county to get that kind of master's degree or PhD program. So I know that's important for people who are in the life sciences in particular, because to advance, you really need to have that higher education, to have that skill set. So I do think that's important. There is a bill going into the legislature this year to advance the next step for that creation of the Higher Education Center and to authorize the advisory board. And I know I have supported that and made that one of my position statements in my legislative package, and when that comes before the committee in Annapolis, I'll go speak to that, and I'm sure that you have taken a position to support that legislation as well.
Yes, absolutely, and the Chamber is on the advisory committee. The bill itself will turn the advisory committee into an actual governing board,
Okay.
and the Chamber will still be a part of that. So we're really playing a key role in convening all of the key players that we hope will move this thing forward. I also want to mention that our other higher education partners who are fully supportive of this are Hood College and Mount St. Mary's,
Right.
as well as Frederick Community College. So this is not any kind of a competing program. This is something that is going to lift all boats as far as education goes. The other piece, I think, speaking of lifting all boats, is that this is not an education bill to make biotech better here. This is a jobs bill for all of Frederick County.
Right.
So if we are able to grow this biotech market, that is going to have positive ramifications for retail and for hospitality
Right.
and for all of the services that are here in Frederick, which is why we think it's so important.
Because all of those things work together.
Right.
So they're all the pieces to the puzzle.
Right.
So now going back to the Hotel Conference Center project, I mean, the City of Frederick has been the lead on that project. It is, I think, the top priority of the major employers group. And we are looking for the state to be a partner in that, not to own or operate it. We're not going to have government do that. It will be a private sector functioning business, but to support the public infrastructure that it needs, including a parking deck. And the City of Frederick runs all the parking decks in the city right now, and the county has provided funding for many of them because we have employees, we have the library, we have the courthouse, we have a number of government operations in the city that depend on the parking decks that the city operates. So I think it's important for people to know that's what government partnership is to support this.
That's right.
So I know we're asking the state to be a contributor to that there's a request for $15 million in capital money, maybe over more than one budget year. And so I did speak to Governor Hogan about that when I had the opportunity to have dinner with him a few weeks ago. And I know a number of us are going to Annapolis this week to meet with various legislators, chair of the Appropriations Committee and others, to try to advocate for this partnership with the state. So do you want to speak about how you're involved in that and how your members are involved in it?
Sure. This is an area that was identified, I think, initially by our major employers group as an opportunity for them to host meetings, for example, that currently it's not that they are not having them in a place that's not working well, but these meetings aren't happening at all. And they would like to be able to bring people in, both from the United States and abroad. And currently, they are not able to do that in a location anywhere near their labs, which is really what they would like to do. So, so that's an area that they identified. We're hopeful that this is kind of a natural extension of development on Carroll Creek Linear Park, which was a significant investment from both the city and the county, and
the state as well on the flood control portion of it.
Right. So it makes sense to leverage what's already been done there to try to trigger more development further down the creek. We think this hotel is going to help do that, and that it will have a positive impact on not only downtown, but clearly all over the county.
Yes, I do think that a lot of people that live here in Frederick County participate in a lot of the weekend events that the Downtown Frederick Partnership hosts in the city, events on Carroll Creek, and that it brings a great sense of community to our county, and it helps the vibrancy of all the businesses and the restaurants that we have in the city. And, you know, it's really something for us to market. And I think the Hotel Conference Center is that next transformational project to keep Carroll Creek going and to really jumpstart that vibrancy that we have in the city of Frederick.
I agree, and I think that there are those rare occasions where there seems to be tremendous agreement And
this is one
everybody,
of them.
and this is one of them. Everybody is on board with this. The delegation is supportive. The mayor is supportive. You're supportive. The business community is firmly behind this. So I think it's an opportunity to do something really great that's going to change the fabric of Frederick permanently, hopefully.
So, well, I'll be seeing you in Annapolis this week as we continue to
That's
advocate
great.
for this with our state partners. So, what other issues are at the top of your agenda for the business community?
Well, you spoke about the major employers group earlier. Their other key area that they're focusing on is transportation. And that's an issue that encompasses not only the gridlock on 270, but also the runways at Frederick Airport, for example, bus transportation, all of those various things that do have an impact on business. But it's not just the major employers group that is part of the chamber, and an area that I want to really look at expanding is the other 80% of our members that have fewer than 25 employees. So we have a lot of solo operations. We have a lot of small companies. And while we have these tremendous networking opportunities at the chamber with over 120 some events a year, many of those folks can't come to them because they're busy behind their cash register or manning their store or whatever they need to do. So I'm hopeful that we will be able to build out more of our online presence so that we'll have a lot more opportunity for people to share and interact with each other through our website, through our social media channels.
Well, I think that's important for that younger entrepreneur, that younger worker, because we want to make sure that we're an attractive place for our millennial generation, and certainly they're going to be interested in connecting digitally through the social media aspects of the chamber.
Absolutely.
And I know that you have some events and focus just on the younger members of the chamber.
We do. We have lots of different core audiences. One of them is our leadership. Obviously, Leadership Frederick helps build emerging leaders and connecting current leaders with each other. We also have Generation Connect, which is for our under 40 and young at heart business owners. I think they think I'm sort of like the crazy aunt that shows up from time to time, but they let me come and do stuff with them. So, but we have a lot of these different groups that, so we can sort of slice and dice people's interests into areas that are really relevant for them. But I think, probably the greatest thing is when we are all working together. We have just about 1,000 members now, and that, numbers speak volumes, and we are able to bring people together because they know that we have 1,000 companies behind us. We're one of the biggest chambers in the state.
Well, you bring a lot of enthusiasm and energy to the chamber, and I really look forward to working with you. And I want to thank you for being with us today for this show. And maybe before we close, you can share how people can contact you and connect with the chamber.
Sure. Well, I want to thank you for having me on. I want to thank you for inviting me to participate in your transition team and your jobs group, and I'm really looking forward to finding more ways to collaborate with Frederick County. And for those who are interested in learning more about the chamber, our website is frederickchamber.org, pretty easy. Our phone number is 301-662-4164. And we have many, many events. And so if you have any interest, you can come and take one for a test drive, see what you think, and we'll hook you up with someone who can tell you a little bit more about the benefits that are involved.
Well, wonderful. I do want to thank you for being a member of my transition team and for serving on that jobs leadership team. We really are trying to put together an action plan to create jobs here in Frederick County and in Frederick City. So I look forward to continuing to have a productive partnership with you and the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us today for Community Conversations. I hope you've learned something of value about the Chamber of Commerce, and we know that jobs are important to our quality of life, so we'll continue to make sure that we can have more people work and live here in Frederick County and share this wonderful, vibrant community we have. So thank you very much, and we'll see you soon on the next edition of Community Conversations.